Jnana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipano Sadharma Samstapako Lokanamita Karino Tribhuvane Manyo Saranyakaro Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nande Namataliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyako Shri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis, namely, Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatana Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Gopal Bhatt Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they're honored all over the 3 worlds, and they're worth taking shelter of because they're absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental, loving service of Radha and Kṛṣṇa. So, reading from the Nectar of Devotion, presented by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This Nectar of Devotion is the summary study of the bhakti-rasa Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. It is the science of devotional service. This is chapter 19, and it is devotional service in love of God. When one desires to love Kṛṣṇa in his particular relationship becomes intensified, this is known as pure love of Godhead. In the beginning, a devotee is engaged in regulative principles of devotional service by the order of his spiritual master. One thereby becomes completely purified of all material contamination, there develops an attachment and taste for devotional service. The taste and attachment, when gradually intensified in course of time, becomes love. The word love can only be applied actually in relationship with the personality of Godhead. In the material world, love is not applicable at all. What goes under the name of love in the material world is nothing but lust. There's a gulf of difference between love and lust, like the difference between gold and iron. In the Narada Pancharatra, it is clearly stated that when lust is completely transferred to the Supreme Godhead, and the concept of kinship is reposed in him, such is accepted as pure love of God by great authorities like Bhishma, Prahlad, Uddhava, Narada. A great authority like Bhishma has explained that love of Godhead means completely giving up all so-called love for any other person. According to Bhishma, love means to repose one's affection completely upon one person, withdrawing all affinities for any other person. This pure love can be transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead under 2 conditions: out of ecstasy and out of the causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Ecstatic love of Godhead can be potently invoked simply by following rules and regulations of devotional service as they're prescribed in the scriptures, under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. In the 11th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, ecstatic love born of the execution of regulative devotional service is explained. A devotee, in course of executing regulative principles of devotional service, develops his natural Kṛṣṇa consciousness, and being thus softened at heart, he chances and dances like a madman. While performing chanting of the holy name of the Lord, he sometimes cries, sometimes talks wildly, sometimes sings, and sometimes, without caring for any outsider, dances like a madman. In the Padma Purana, there's a statement about ecstatic love born of spontaneous affection. Chandrakanti, a celebrated fair-faced girl, rigidly observed celibacy in order to obtain Kṛṣṇa as her husband. She always engaged herself in meditating on the transcendental form of the Lord and always chanted the glories of the Lord. She did not desire to accept anyone else as her husband. She had firmly decided that only Lord Kṛṣṇa would be her husband. When a devotee is found to be always associated with the Lord in ecstatic love, it's to be understood that such a position is awarded by the Lord himself out of his causeless, extraordinary mercy. An example of such extraordinary mercy is given in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, wherein Lord Kṛṣṇa tells Uddhava, "The gopis in Vrindavan did not study the Vedas to achieve me, nor had they ever been in any holy places of pilgrimage, nor did they devoutly execute any regulative principle, nor did they undergo any kind of austerity. It's simply by my association that they've attained the highest perfection of devotional service." From the example of Chandrakanti, as found in Padma Purana, and from the example of the gopis, as found in Srimad Bhagavatam, it appears that a devotee who always thinks of Kṛṣṇa, who always chants his glories in ecstatic love, regardless of his condition, will attain the highest perfection of unalloyed devotional love due to Lord Kṛṣṇa's extraordinary mercy. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. If Hari, the Supreme Lord, worshipped, adored, and loved by a person, it should be understood that the person has finished all kinds of austerities, penances, and similar processes for self-realization. On the other hand, if after undergoing all types of austerities, penance, mystic yoga practices, one does not develop such love for Hari, then all his performances are to be considered a useless waste of time. If someone always sees Kṛṣṇa inside and out, then it's to be understood that he has surpassed all austerities and penances for self-realization. And if, after executing all kinds of penances and austerities, one cannot see Kṛṣṇa inside and out, then he has executed his performances uselessly. Spontaneous attraction to Kṛṣṇa, which is said to be due to the extraordinary mercy of the Lord, can be placed under two headings. One is profound veneration for the greatness of the Lord, and the other may be one's automatically being attracted to Kṛṣṇa without any extraneous consideration. In the Narada Pancharatra, it's said that if on account of profound veneration for the greatness of the Supreme Lord, one attains a great affection and steady love for him, one is certainly assured of attaining the four kinds of Vaishnava liberation, namely, achieving bodily features of the Lord, achieving the same opulence as the Lord, dwelling on the planet where the Lord is residing, and attaining eternal association with the Lord. The Vaishnava liberation is completely different from Mayavad liberation, which is simply a matter of being merged into the effulgence of the Lord. In the Narada Pancharatra, pure, unalloyed devotional service is explained as being without any motive for personal benefit. If a devotee is continuously in love with Lord Kṛṣṇa and his mind is always fixed upon him, that devotional attitude will prove to be the only means of attracting the attention of the Lord. In other words, a Vaishnava who is incessantly thinking of the form of Lord Kṛṣṇa is to be known as a pure Vaishnava. Generally, a devotee who has achieved the causeless mercy of the Lord on account of following the strict rules and regulations of devotional service becomes attracted to the supreme greatness of the Lord, by the transcendental beauty of the Lord, and by the spontaneous execution of devotional service. To be more clear, by executing regulative principles of devotional service, one can fully appreciate the transcendental beauty of the Lord. In any case, such exalted positions are only possible by the extraordinary mercy of the Lord upon the devotee. Although many different processes for developing love of God have been explained so far, Srila Rupa Goswami now gives us a general description of how one can achieve such a high position. The beginning of ecstatic love of Godhead is basically faith. There are many societies and associations of pure devotees, and if someone with just a little faith begins to associate with such societies, his advancement to pure devotional service is rapid. The influence of a pure devotee is such that if someone comes to associate with him with a little faith, he gets the chance of hearing about the Lord from authoritative scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus, by the mercy of the Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart, one gradually develops his faith in the descriptions of such authoritative scriptures. This is the first stage of association with pure devotees. In the second stage, after one becomes a little advanced and mature, he automatically offers to follow the principles of devotional service under the guidance of the pure devotee and accepts him as the spiritual master. In the next stage, under the guidance of the spiritual master, the devotee executes regulative devotional service, and as a result of such activities, he becomes freed from all unwanted occupations. When he is freed from unwanted occupations, his faith becomes steadily fixed, and he develops a transcendental taste for devotional service, then attachment, then ecstasies, and in the last stage there's pure love of Godhead. These are the different stages of development of pure love. Only the most fortunate persons can achieve such success in life. Those who are simply academic students of the Vedic scriptures cannot appreciate such how a development takes place. In the Narayana Pancharatra, Lord Shiva therefore tells Parvati, "My dear Supreme Goddess, you can know from me that any person who has developed the ecstasy of love for the personality of Godhead and who is always merged in transcendental bliss on account of this love cannot even perceive the material distress of happiness, the material distress or happiness coming from the body or mind." Affection and the dealings of love are different branches of the original tree of love, preceding the many varieties of affectionate manifestations, which will not be discussed here. These different manifestations have been described by Sanatana Goswami in his Bhagavatamrita. Although the subject of such affections and dealings of love are very confidential, Sanatana Goswami has described them very explicitly. Sri Rupa Goswami thus concludes the first division of his bhakti-rasa Sindhu, offering up his treatise for the transcendental pleasure of Sanatana Goswami, who has established the transcendental beauty, and of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. It appears from this statement that the great Srila Jiva Goswami was not yet active when Bhakti-rasa Sindhu was written.